Yo, what's good, guys? It is your boy Jason JV, coming at y'all from the JJV Gaming Channel. And yeah, wasn't sure if I was gonna do this video, but I ultimately said, screw it. I need to add my voice to this because some of y'all may not be aware. Actually, all of y'all may not be aware. But I actually used to watch a lot of Eric July's video. Who's Eric July? That is Young Rippa on YouTube. That's what he goes by on YouTube. Eric July is, of course, the man right here in charge of the Young Rippa channel. And I believe Eric July is the name he goes by under his, I think that's like his musician name, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's legit his real name. I wanted to do this video because this kept popping up into my feed. So I just want to give my take on this whole situation, because what does my man Eric July and Angry Joe have to do with this video that we're about to get into? Well, apparently they got into it over the interwebs on social media over this whole TMNT controversy, the April O'Neil controversy to be more specific. Alright, y'all, so my bad for the sudden hard jump cut. I was actually on the wrong video. That was actually the part 2 video, the updated video. This is actually the video where everything kind of blew up. This is where everything kind of really jumped off right here. And this is going to help give us the full context of what went down between Rippa and Angry Joe. So let's go ahead and get right into this one. But I can hear.
One thing I particularly, again, take exception to is people tying my name or my likeness or some claims that I've made to things that I've never said, I've never alluded to, I've never perpetuated or anything. Only because, again, they have a fixed narrative that's in their mind and they need it to be true.
Yeah, I hate when people take something that was said completely out of context and then try to form their own narrative out of that. You know what I mean? Anyway.
I'm all for people disagreeing. I am one of the few guys that meets head on with his detractors, and I do it often. There's an entire playlist called Monetize Your Haters. You guys can see that. They've been some of my most notable streams. I have no...
And this is why I respect dude. Like I said, I may not be subscribed to him. I may not watch as much of his content as possible, but I do respect the way he conducts himself and how he handles himself when it comes to dealing with his detractors, those who have that contrarian point of view. So anyway.
No problem meeting head to head with my haters. But one thing I will take exception to, regardless, is people that say I said things or say I've done things that had never been the case. And this now has happened in the case of the Angry Ho. And
to be fair, this is something I don't agree with. And this is something that those who lean more right, you guys need to stop this. Stop the name calling, okay? The name calling thing is a leftist tactic, okay? When you start using a leftist tactic, you are proving that you are no better than those on the left who you are so against. All right, so that needs to stop. Stop with the name calling, okay? If you want to, be better than them, then you need to carry yourself and conduct yourself in a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's got every right. He's got the same rights as I do, and he can say whatever he wants. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna, talk about the left and complain about them doing this name calling nonsense, you best make sure that you are perfect. You know what I mean? Because you know what they say about those with a glass house. I'm just saying. Anyway.
And I'm going to go here real quick and we'll set the scene.
Okay.
So Joe, by the way, or Ho, what he does is he takes safe positions as it pertains to political and social views. Okay.
And he is not wrong here. Now, this is something I can agree with him on. And this is not the first time Angry Joe has put his foot in his mouth. Angry Joe has that foot-to-mouth syndrome. He's got into it with other content creators like The Quartering, I believe Review Tech USA. He's also got, and then I believe Geeks and Gamers, actually, I don't know why I'm saying I believe. I just watched this video. I seen that Geeks and Gamers also address the things that Joe said here in this tweet that my man's about to address. So anyway, and yeah, and it's not the first time Joe has, spout off over the internet, and then when people call him on it, he backtracks, especially when he gets ratioed, as he does here. Watch.
This is not unlike anybody else that is big or a known person that is on YouTube. They take the safe positions, and right now the safest positions, and it's definitely been since the Trump situation, has been social justice leftism. Okay, period. So not to say that these guys are often political or social experts or guys that even speak about it regularly. Angry Ho does not speak about it regularly. He has no idea what the hell.
Again, stop with the name calling. If you're going to carry yourself like an intellectual, let's make sure we're not name calling people. You know what I mean? Because, we're adults at the end of the day, and we're better than this. I'm just saying.
He's talking about it very often when it comes to politics. And this is the same sucker who also advocated that the government actually be involved as it pertains to more in the gaming industry. This guy is an authoritarian social justice leftist, and he perpetuates these sort of social views that are often very safe for him to take. But in this post right here,
yeah, I've watched enough of Joe's content to where he tries to play both sides. You know what I mean? He tried to utilize his little tactics, little things that benefit him. You know what I mean? That really help him when it's convenient for him. And I can't stand people like that when you try to play both sides, because you're coming off very disingenuous. You know what I mean? When you're speaking out of both sides of your neck, you come off very disingenuous, and I just can't rock with people like that. Anyway.
Which he used my likeness, that's the problem that I have. In fact, I think it's the first damn thing it is that he shares. And he says, racist. April O'Neil is white, not black. I'm tired of being replaced. This is BS. Whoa. It's a quote. It's a caricature. It's a over-exaggeration of what's being claimed. And then he also says the not racist weirdos. I don't care that she's black, but why isn't she this 12-year-old hot and sexy instead of ugly and fat? Can't wank. Okay.
All right. So just to clarify, so it says racist. April O'Neil is white, not black. I'm tired of being replaced. This is, BS. Woke, and everything. Now look. This is something, to Joe's point, this is something that I can agree with Joe on, because people on the right, they tend to make a huge, mountain out of a molehill when it comes to certain characters being race swapped or whatever. Now look, I've said in my TMNT trailer reaction that I like the new design of April O'Neil for this Mutant Mayhem movie that's coming out. No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't agree with it either. So I'm in that camp that doesn't like it. However, I don't mind that April is black. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. There is such a thing, to me, in my opinion at least, there is such a thing as race swap done right and race swap done wrong. A good example of a race swap that was done right, how many of y'all seen The Batman? Now, as you guys know, in that movie, Jim Gordon, yes, he was portrayed by a black American actor. Had no problem with it. I went and gave this movie a chance. I watched this movie. I gave it a real chance. And I thought the actor that they chose to play Jim Gordon did a well enough job. You know what I mean? I loved his portrayal of Jim Gordon, as a matter of fact. I thought he played the role very, he came off very respectable and came off very likable. You know what I mean? So, cool. I'm good with that Jim Gordon. I have no problems with it. But what made me laugh too, again, keeping with this whole race swap controversy, people got upset when Zoe Kravitz got casted as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. You know what I mean? Acting like there was no other black actress that played Catwoman. And apparently, these people who had a problem with that didn't watch the 1960s Batman TV show that starred Adam West. Eartha Kitt, anyone? You know what I'm saying? So, and this happened during the 1960s, at a time when racism actually was a thing, you know what I mean? Where it was much more prevalent than it is today. You feel me? And so I didn't have a problem with Zoe Kravitz being casted as Selena Kyle. I thought she did a great job. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold it against her that she threw out that old white privilege line, because, hey, She was hired to play a role. She's hired to do a job, and part of her job is to deliver whatever lines they give her. So I can't fault her for that. With the exception of that line, I thought, overall she did a good enough job. You know what I mean? So I have no problems with that. And really, the fault or the accountability should go to the writer who wrote that line in. So anyway, and I didn't mind the way it was utilized either. You could tell it was a throwaway, last minute tacked on line. You know what I mean? So, whatever. It is what it is. Now, what they did here with the TMNT movie and what they did with April, I have no problems with her being black. You want to make her black? That's fine. That's cool. My issue with this design was that they made her this overweight kind of, dumpy looking character. It's freaking Velma, guys. They brought Velma from that new awful Velma cartoon here in the TMNT movie, pretending to be a reporter, playing, the role of a reporter, rather than being a grown woman who is a career woman who is actually a legit news reporter. Why couldn't you have gone that extra mile? You know what I mean? Make her a grown adult, make her a career woman who is a legit news reporter, and also make her pretty. What are you trying to say? That black women can't be attractive? I know I've seen my fair share of some pretty attractive black women. I'm just saying. So really, that's really my only issues with this design of April O'Neil. Other than that, I don't care what race she is. The whole, well, she was originally black to begin with in the comments. As you guys may have heard by now, yeah, I'm going to be a bit of an echo chamber. That has since been debunked. People seem to think that only black women had perms or whatever, curly hair back in the 80s. Not the case. There were also white women who also had the perm, you know what I mean, had curly hair back in the 80s. That was like the style back then, you know what I mean? And various women rocked that style. It didn't matter who they were, what they looked like. So yes, I am in the camp that, yes, would I prefer to see, a white April O'Neil, as I've always have seen? Yes, I would have liked that very much. I mean, the traditional, April O'Neil that I know, that I love, that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? But again, as far as the race swapping thing, I don't care about that. To me, it's not that big of a deal. It's just all this other stuff you added on to it. Anyway, let's get back into this.
So he's either liking me to being a racist or liking me to be a pedophile. Okay? And he does that by showing me actually right here saying something about this whole situation. That makes him a punk bitch. And like I said, that's not anything that I'm going to play around with. Okay? Liking me to pedophilia or liking me to even being racist, considering that I am a black. So it's one of the two or both, right?
Okay, now this is where I'm on the same page with him right here, and this is where I feel like, and I agree, Joe was out of pocket here. You know what I mean? Accusing this man of being a racist, you know what I'm saying? Or, a pedo. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be careful with how I say it because, YouTube's terms of service. But accusing this man of being these things, which can cause some serious damage to his life. You know what I'm saying? When you throw out reckless accusations like that. Joe was out of line. He's out of pocket. You know what I mean? You don't play with stuff like that. You just don't. Especially when you don't have the receipts to support your claims.
One of the two or both. I'm either the racist, as he's showing the example, or I'm the not racist weirdo that apparently is liking to this. That's two shits that I don't play around with. Okay. Right. And yeah, I'm coming to see you, Joe. In the event that I don't know how much you. I know we are in the same state in the event that we are at a convention. I am coming to see you for this fucking statement because that's not anything that I'm playing around at all with liking me to something like that. And
honestly, I wouldn't blame him. Someone needs to put Joe in his place. Now, I'm not saying, do that through violence or whatever. No. I'm not saying that at all. Again, just as an added disclaimer out there. What I mean is that when he goes and if he ever sees Joe, hopefully he and Joe can have a conversation and get this whole thing squared away and settled in a peaceful manner. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But anyway.
And keep in mind that all of this stems from what? Only thing that I posted was I told y'all this whole shebang was dead on arrival. But more importantly, I debunked a myth that has popped up pertaining to the Ninja Turtles and pertaining to April O'Neil. pertaining to April O'Neil, and I have addressed the myth, let's say that, with objective, verifiable evidence. It is the whole April originally was created to be black is a false statement. It is a false statement. It is something that has been perpetuated in the recent years, for 20 years, really, for the conception of the Ninja Turtles when they first were published. That was not even a conversation in the 2000s. All of a sudden it became one, and now here we are. Go look at those previous videos. I did 2 of them. One where I go through for sure all of the receipts.
And see, and this is where I also made a mistake in the trailer too. Well, not necessarily, because I did say that there was, plenty of different iterations of April O'Neil. And I guess in the comics, I thought there was a black version of April O'Neil in the comics. And that was what I that is what I was referring to, you know what I mean, when I talked about the early comics. I too, I'm guilty, you know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I too thought she was originally black in those early comics, and I found out that was actually wrong. And my man here has the receipts here to prove that that's clearly not the case.
That there are. I go through the myths. I go through some of these supposed misquotes and all of that. I go through. That's what got these cats mad. Is me simply debunking a myth. That's it. And of course it came up. Why? Because there was a new movie trailer that was announced.
Right.
And the myth resurfaced, and I just simply said, hey, here it is, being depicted as this. But the primary point of that video, and you can watch it yourself, is me simply addressing the myth. And if that is going to get me not liking to fucking pedophiles, like I say, you gotta fucking come. You gotta see me. Angry Ho, excuse me. He has to see me.
No, you were right to call him by his name, Rippa. Come on, man. Come on. If you're trying to be a stand-up guy, right, an upstanding guy, don't stoop down to their level and start, name calling. All right, that's silly and that's childish, and you know better than that, my guy. Come on.
Based on that, because that's not anything that I'm playing around with. Straight up. I take that very, very serious. Both of those, either of those, especially someone who, I'm a black man. Obviously, there's no problem here. I'm married to a black woman. There's no issue. So the racist claim obviously can't be thrown out there pertaining to black racism. It can't at all. And certainly this other bit can't be claimed at all. But you needed that to be true. And this is what the issue that I take with all of these weirdos is that they have no problem with defaming you or the libel, the slanderous claims. They have no issues doing that with people that they perceive as their ideological enemies, right? Everything is on the table as long as they can paint you as a bad person and they want you to be a bad person and want to continue to pretend as if you are. But that's fine. Like I said, in the event that we're at a con, I'm going to see him and we're going to address it. That does not mean that I'm going to punch him in his fucking face. That's not what we're talking about.
And mad respect for that. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, yeah, he's going to address it. They're going to talk it out like men, as they should. You know what I mean? Respect for that.
I am saying that I'm not one of those, I shy away from the confrontation, right? I go to Anime Matsuri or something, and I know that someone that has been saying these very foul and evil things about myself is there, and I'm gonna pretend like they're not there. No. I'm going straight to your booth, and we're gonna hash this out, and we're gonna actually discuss this in person to see kind of where you're coming from. And best believe out of that conversation will come out a resolution. Guaranteed.
Cool. Now let's go ahead and let's switch over to the follow-up video, because he does have a follow-up.
What is good, everybody?
So my bad. Let me go into full screen mode here.
Fresh off of workout, figured I'd go ahead and do this video because, well, this did indeed it happened. Following up on a previous video that I just did talking about Angry Joe and him likening myself to either pedophilia as well as a racist. And we discussed that. We went through the tweets, all that. Go watch that for context if you need the full entire context. But that's the long story short. Of course, I'll take exception to that. And yes, I said we're going to have to discuss that certainly in person, facing the accuser. We ain't nobody talking about no fighting or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm a confrontational person in that sense. I don't like to shy away from that. I like to discuss these things. I certainly, when it comes to egregious terms, in person, get a resolution, walk away from it. With that being said, he has now clarified. You call it backtracking or whatever you want to discuss it, that he was not talking about me. He says, and this really comes from the fact that he got ratioed in a previous video, apparently, and he's thinking that that had something to do with me, like I sent people there. In fact, he claims right here in a tweet that I'm having my fans go at him. That never happened. I didn't have anybody go at you. I'm the one that called you the hoe. Like that's point blank, period.
Facts. As you guys saw earlier in the video, yes, he was the one that was name calling Joe, and I appreciate him at least holding himself accountable for what he said. You know what I'm saying? So, mad respect for that for sure. And then yeah, see, now this is what I was talking about with Joe earlier. You know what I'm saying? Now you guys can see why, and this pisses me off because I used to love watching Angry Joe's videos. You know what I mean? I used to love watching his stuff. I like how he'd be wilding out, getting angry and whatever, and be ranting about crappy video games and whatnot. But then I see him pull this kind of stuff again, and Ripple's not the only one he's done this to. As I mentioned earlier, he's done this with other content creators. You know what I mean? He'll fire shots at them. You know what I mean? And like whatever. And then when he sees that he's losing, he then tries to turn around and protect himself by be like, "Oh, I wasn't talking about this person, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't saying this. I really meant this or whatever." Like he'll backtrack, and I know people who do this, and it pisses me off to no end. You know what I mean? When someone would freaking just blurt out something without even thinking about it, and then when you call them on it, then they want to fucking backtrack on there. So anyway, yeah, I just can't stand people who do that, dude. If you're gonna say shit on the internet, and realize too, when you put shit out there on the internet, it is out there forever. Even if you delete your post, you know what I'm saying? Guaranteed, whoever it is that you're going in on is going to take a screenshot of what you said before you even have the chance of taking it down. So it'll always be out there, especially with my man here having his video up, showing the receipt of what he's addressing. One way or another, what you say, what you put out, it's going to stay on the internet. So you cannot backtrack. You may as well just own up to what you said. Hold yourself accountable to what you said. And this is why I have no respect for Angry Joe anymore.
But as far as you getting ratioed, you're the bigger YouTuber, aren't you? I'm not sure how little old me could do that, which is hilarious. You got these people saying that, hey, he's clout chasing pertaining to me just because he swung first and I responded.
See, that's what I'm saying. And Joe, before you try to go and accuse me of being a racist and whatever the hell, be advised that just like you, I too am a pale-faced Hispanic. So, orale, mi canal. I'm just saying.
As if I didn't, start a multi-million-dollar business, as if I don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers or followers across multiple social media accounts, as if I'm not a Billboard charting artist. I guess none of that actually happened. A prominent commentator, none of that actually happened. I guess I'm just chasing clout here, even though I'm the responding agency here. Nonetheless, he has said here that he was not discussing me. He says I wasn't talking to you. You were only shown because I'm more unquote tweeted. I want to address that real quick because this is why, you can say that it sounds more like a backtrack, because what he's doing is saying, and this is the original post as we see right here. You can see it right here. It's the original post, okay? He's claiming that this right here, and we'll go ahead and pull it up, is he was just talking about Gabe. Now look at this post right here. None of that makes any sense, and it's not a mere misunderstanding. This is him being disingenuous. This is, okay, if anything, you poorly posted this, okay? This is the post right here. It doesn't make sense to even suggest or act like it's out of pocket for someone to say that you're referring to me, considering that, well, you didn't just screen cap his part of the tweet, which you could have, his actual tweet. You could have done that, but you didn't. Instead, you chose to screen cap myself into it, which, again, considering that Gabe is echoing the sentiments that I made.
And this is one of those things, again, you know what I mean? Why I just can't rock with people like Angry Joe, man, because this guy is so disingenuous, with his tactics here on social media. Anyway.
That you're showing right here to act like it's just he's just misunderstanding, is being obtuse. You're being completely dishonest here. Nonetheless, he's still a hoe for it. Gabe, as you
Again, don't stoop down to their level. Be better. Be better.
know, is we have, you know, considering the business relationship that it is that we have, he's a colorist of ISOM. You're calling my colorist, likening my colorist, as well as someone else that I've worked with, in Shane Davis here, pedos, or likening to pedos, as well as other things such as racist, or call them racist.
Which again, that is completely out of left field. You know what I mean? Like, there was no need to have to go there.
You're still a hoe for it. So make no mistake, that doesn't stop. The thing right now, as he is claiming, if we take his word for it, is that he was not including me. He wants me to apologize, and I'm not apologizing for anything.
And nor should he. I mean, this is very similar to the whole Will Smith Chris Rock situation, where obviously you guys know what happened there. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock a year ago. Chris Rock, clapped back with his comedy special, and Will Smith had the nerve to tell Chris Rock, through a internet posting, "Oh, get over what happened to you," and everything. Joe here, in this case, like he said, and as you guys all clearly seen, fired the first shots at this dude, you know what I mean? And now he's getting all this flack for it. Well, Joe, I'm sorry, not sorry, but you brought that on yourself when you did what you did. You know what I'm saying? So, if you didn't want all that happening to you, you probably shouldn't have put yourself out there like that. You fired the first shots at Ripa here. And now you're demanding an apology from him like you're the victim? You're not the victim in this case. You're the bully in this case. And I'm sure Ripa's not going to see him as the victim, but technically in this case, he is technically the victim. Okay? The guy gave his opinion on a design of a character. He doesn't agree with it. He doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Fine. That's all well and good. And you want to make it into something completely dark. You know what I mean? And it did not need to go there, dude. You are in the wrong, okay? Dude, Ripa here doesn't owe you anything. You're in the wrong. Whether you want to admit that to yourself or not, you're in the wrong.
And the context is still there. Like, this tweet is still up. He hasn't bothered to clarify on this or anything like that. He just is posted. It's still live. He hasn't retracted or anything. So if anybody goes and sees this, any rational person is going to look at this and assume that I'm included in it, considering that, well, you included me in it. If you didn't want to, you probably shouldn't have done this. And like I've said before, these people, of course, are so unaccustomed to conflict, confrontation, and just dialogue. And that is the thing about social media that gets me. And that mere responses, these people are socially awkward to the point to where they've gotten lost in the sauce, right? And that they don't understand actual honest dialogue. So when someone says, it's either, responds or says that we're going to have to hash this out, they see that as a threat to them. Mm-hmm. Right? This is what he said. Angry Joe claimed, if you look at some of these tweets, I don't know if I have.
Exactly. This is him trying to put himself, in the shoes of someone that does not need any protection. I mean, this is a character. It's a cartoon character at the end of the day. I don't even know why we're having this whole issue at the end of the day. Why Joe had to stir all this shit up over a freaking cartoon animated character. Like, dog, all of this could have easily been avoided had you just shut your damn mouth or gave your fingers a rest or keep your fingers off the keyboard. You know what I mean? Or post something more productive. Because this right here, this ain't it, Chief.
Them pulled up here. Yeah, he said also you want to threaten me in person. No, I didn't want to threaten you. If I threaten you, I'd say, hey, Angry Joe, I'm going to knock your bitch ass out. That's not what I said.
Facts. As you guys saw in the first video that I started this video off with, all he said is that I'm coming to see you. I'm going to address this with you. He said he's going to have a conversation with you, and that you guys are going to walk away from it. You're going to come to a resolution, and you're going to walk away from it. So there was no threat there. See, dude, why do you lie? See, this is why you need to check yourself, because now you got to lie on top of your lie to cover up your other lies. You know what I mean? And you're catching a shit ton of L's for it, my guy. And again, all self-inflicted. Dude, just stop. Stop. What's so hard about that, dude? All you had to do was just leave well enough alone, and you wouldn't be in the predicament that you got yourself into.
And it's stupid.
I'm just saying.
But we're both adult men here. That should not be the case. But in referring to adult men, we should be able to you should be able to face your accusers. If you have a problem, don't go tying people to evil things. People that, these are very evil, particularly the pedophilia thing. This is something that is a very bad thing.
It is. It's a life-damaging thing that you're trying to put on somebody. You just don't do that. You could potentially ruin his life with an accusation like that.
You cannot just liken people to that. And this is what gets me about these types, is that they think because, well, there's a person that disagrees with them, or their ideological enemy, a political, social enemy, whatever it is, that they can just say whatever foul thing that they want to say. And then when they get a response, it's like, oh my God, I'm the victim here. No, fool, you swung first. And if this is something that you're not comfortable with, don't put your neck out there like that. But that's the thing that gets me about social media, is that people now are not accustomed to that. So when someone actually says, oh, wait a minute, I take exception to that, and we're gonna hash that out, they consider it a threat. Instead of, well, let's be adults about it, men, and people should be able to face their accusers, and let's sit up here and talk about. Obviously, this is not energy that they're going to keep up by any.
And this is an opportunity for Joe to redeem himself, to show that he is not a punk. You know what I mean? That just recklessly posts, shit about other people over social media, over the internet. You know what I'm saying? This is a chance for him to prove himself to be a man, by saying, all right, hey, you know what? I messed up. I owe you an apology, Rippa. I apologize. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have said what I said. I did it. I gotta own it. Whether I like it or not, I gotta own it. You know what I mean? I apologize. And I will, do better to tread more lightly. There's no shame in admitting when you're wrong. Show me a man who is not afraid to own it to his faults, who's not afraid to own it to his mistakes, and I'll show you a man that I can respect. I'm just saying.
Any means. This is not some tough talk. This is just simple thing. The fact that you see it as tough talk, the fact that you see it as a threat, says more about you than it does anybody else. Because
facts. He's making himself look weak when he does that.
You are so either socially awkward, or just you think that there should be no ramifications, there should be no consequences to the things it is that you're saying, that someone actually saying that they're going to address you about it is a threat. That's the part that's childish. He goes on, he talks about all this, like he says, over he's trying to dumb it down, like real tough guy, over a cartoon character. Like, fool, yeah, over a cartoon character, you had no issue calling people this right here, right? You had no issue calling people racist. You had no issue likening people to pedophilic acts over a cartoon character. Don't act like, oh, you so high and mighty. I don't care. This is not important. It was important enough for you to liken people to evil things. Okay,
he's not wrong. You know what I mean? Ripa is totally in the right here.
Hey, it's not even funny, dude. But that's the thing about these times.
No, that is something you don't play around with, dude. If you're that reckless about things like that, I don't see how or why anyone would want to continue to support someone like this. This is why, again, I no longer watch Joe's stuff. I'm no longer subscribed to his channel. You know what I'm saying? Because this is just not cool. You just don't do that. You just don't play with stuff like that. It's not funny. Just saying, be careful.
Types. So, we just have it clarified. He wasn't talking about me, saying he wasn't talking to me. I still think he's weak for it, because people that I do business with, certainly, he's still calling them hoes. I'm calling them hoes. Calling him a hoe. And he's calling them acting in the pedophilic acts and racist, and call them racist. That's still sucker stuff. right? Calling people in our corner, little corner in it, or whatever you want to call it, that. And people that I work with is still weak, right? People that I have good relationships with, yeah, that's still weak. You're still weak for that. But I will, okay, for the sake of what's going on right now, take his word for it. And that's the clarification here. He wasn't talking about me, so he says.
All right, y'all. So yeah, I wanted to do both videos in one. I thought about doing two separate videos, but I figured they're not that long. They're only like roughly about 7-8 minutes each. But yeah, I just wanted to address this situation. You know what I'm saying? And kind of raise awareness for anybody. You know what I mean? That may potentially be an Angry Joe follower and a Young Ripper follower. You know what I'm saying? If you guys follow any of these dudes, like I did. You know what? I'm gonna subscribe to Rippa's channel. I'm gonna show my man some love, cause like I said, Rippa, he's a very smart dude. Right? You know what I mean? I respect what he does. I don't, like I said, I don't always agree with him. I think I more disagree than I agree with him, but he does make some fair, valid points at times that, like I said, I can't agree with. But overall, the one thing I cannot take away from Rippa is that he's, you know, I mean, I get why he said what he said to Joe, because he's upset, and rightfully so. I mean, I'd be upset too if someone's accusing me of the same stuff that he was being accused of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who wouldn't? Who in their right mind wouldn't? But when not in a situation like this, Rippa does, you know, handle himself very well for the most part. He does carry himself very, you know, respectfully and everything. You know what I mean? I've seen this man handle himself well in debates and whatnot, so I can vouch for that. So yeah, definitely check out Young Rippa. If you guys never heard of him, check him out. He is very much in the geek and deep into the geek and nerd culture. You know what I'm saying? And you guys know I'm all about that geek and nerd culture as well. I mean, should be obvious. But anyway, so yeah, man, go show Rippa some love. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Let him know that your boy JJV done sent you. I'm sure he'll appreciate that as well. And yeah, just, you know, again, hopefully, you know, people will learn from Angry Joe's mistakes. Don't be like this dude. Don't be talking reckless on the internet, on social media. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're feeling the vibes here. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's your boy Jason JV. And y'all take care. Bless one. Catch y'all next one. Peace.
Jason JV on YouTube.
What's up with you, Jason JV?
What up, Jason? JV.
Just sending love, peace, and blessings to you.
Jason, you are my homeboy, my guy. Don't call me guy, pal. Don't call me buddy, pal.
Much love to you, JV. Chris Calico. Cali, baby. Oh.
What's up, Jimmy? My name is Jimmy Badger. I just want to have good to do with him. Who said what's up to you? Keep your motherfucking head up. I don't know why you sad. If you sad, if you happy. Don't be too happy. Don't be expecting shit. Because I throw you curves all the time. So you ready to be on the swerve. So subscribe, tap the little bell, turn on the notifications, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Eat it, yeah!